Okay, so we're diving into the November 20th entry
Okay.
from the AA Thought for the Day.
Gotcha.
And it starts right away talking about, using alcohol as an escape.
Right.
But that really got me thinking because it feels like that's something we all do, even without the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't any distraction a way to sort of avoid facing things sometimes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at it this way.
Yeah.
From like an evolutionary perspective, our brains, they're really hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Right.
So it's like that urge to escape. Like it makes sense. It's natural.
It's totally natural.
Yeah, but I think the problem arises when we start relying on, those escape routes too much, to the point where it's like we're not actually developing the skills to deal with, the tough stuff in life.
Okay, I get that. But I'm going to push back a little here.
Sure.
I mean, isn't there a difference between like zoning out with Netflix after a long day,
Right.
and more serious avoidance tactics?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't be on all the time, can we?
No, you're absolutely right. It's all about finding that balance. And actually, there's a lot of research on resilience, and they talk about this concept of psychological flexibility,
Right.
which is essentially the ability to kind of adapt and cope with challenges
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy way.
Right.
And like a key part of that is knowing, when to engage, when to kind of step back, and when to maybe shift gears entirely.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mental martial art.
Mental martial art. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this thought for the day.
Mm-hmm.
It also mentions that avoiding reality actually makes us weaker in the long run.
Right.
How does that connect to this idea of psychological flexibility?
Well, think of it like this. Every time we kind of avoid a difficult situation,
Yeah.
we're basically choosing the path of least resistance.
Right.
And over time, that makes our mental muscles atrophy.
Makes sense.
But when we face, those challenges head on,
Mm-hmm.
even in small ways, we actually build up our resilience. We learn that we can handle the discomfort, that we can find solutions.
So it's like the more we run from things, the scarier they become.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the meditation for the day comes in. It shifts the focus
Okay.
to finding strength and support in something beyond ourselves.
Hmm.
It talks about like placing hope in God's grace.
Right. And I know that can be a tricky concept for some people.
Sure.
But I was thinking, even if someone isn't particularly religious,
Yeah,
this idea of a higher power can still resonate, right?
absolutely.
It could be anything that gives us, a sense of perspective, purpose, connection.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
It's about tapping into something larger than ourselves.
Right.
I mean, for some people, that might be nature or community,
Yeah.
art, a cause they believe in, Whatever it is, it provides that source of strength and inspiration that can help us through those tough times.
I like that.
It reminds us that we're not alone.
And then building on that idea of connecting to something bigger.
Yeah.
The last part of this reading contrasts the satisfaction we get from spiritual growth
Mm-hmm.
versus accumulating possessions.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's fascinating because there's actually been a ton of studies that show that experiences
Okay.
tend to bring more lasting happiness than material goods.
Oh.
It's about the memories we create, the skills we develop, the personal growth.
Yeah.
Those things become a part of us in a way that a new phone or a fancy car never can.
It's funny because I was just thinking about a trip I took a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember every detail, every laugh, every stunning sunset.
Yeah.
It's so much more vivid than like remembering what phone I had at the time,
Exactly. And that's because those experiences actually shape who we are.
Yeah.
They contribute to our personal narrative, our sense of self. They
Mhm.
connect us to something larger than ourselves, whether it's the beauty of nature, the bonds of friendship, the pursuit of a passion.
Okay, so to bring this all back to our listener today,
Yeah.
it seems like the core message here is about finding healthier ways to cope,
Mm-hmm.
seeking support beyond ourselves,
Yeah.
and focusing on growth rather than just accumulating stuff.
Well said. And ultimately, I think it's about asking ourselves
Mhm.
what truly gives our lives meaning.
Yeah.
What are we building both internally and externally
Right.
that will provide lasting satisfaction?
Mhm.
Those are questions worth pondering regardless of our background or beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time.
See ya. Bye. Bye.